unconfessed sin or unconfessed guilt. Okay? When there's guilt in our life, the Bible calls us clearly. It says, just confess it. Confess it. Confession is this first step to freedom. When you confess something, it begins to not have power over you anymore. To confess, the word literally means to agree with God. That's important to understand. That when we confess guilt, when we confess sin in our life, we're simply agreeing with God about two specific things. We're agreeing with God about who we are and who He is. We're agreeing, saying, God, I get it. I'm a broken person. I'm a sinner. I've stumbled. I've fallen short of your glorious standard. And specifically, maybe in this moment, I've fallen short here. I get it. And you are sovereign, awesome, holy, loving God. You sent Christ. He's your Son. He died on the cross for my sin. We agree with God about that. You've said in your word that if I'll confess, you'll forgive. That I'll confess, you can make me clean. Right? Agree with God about those things and let it go. But here's the sad reality. Human beings in our flesh, man, we resist that. We resist it, man. And I've been there. And have you ever been there and you've been resisting it and inside there's a voice going, why are you doing this? And you still do it. It's weird. There's like three things that I thought about that people do to resist confessing. Number one, denial. We just act like it didn't even happen. We just go on. You know, we go through this horrible thing and then we just, next time we see him, we just act like it never happened. Everything's good. We just sweep it under the rug. It's exactly what Adam and Eve did. If you're taking notes, I'm not going to read Genesis 3, but in Genesis 3, the first sin happens. Adam and Eve disobey God, eat the forbidden fruit. We learn a lot of things about how people respond to guilt and sin in that passage. If you're taking notes, you can write that down and read it later. Remember Adam and Eve, they ate the forbidden fruit and they were created in this garden to live with God and walk with Him. And after they ate the fruit, they heard the sound of God walking in the garden. Now, if you've read the story, you know that what they did not do was say to each other, oh, God's here again. Let's go run to God and confess. Let's go tell Him, we're sorry, God, we ate the fruit. We know you told us not to. We confess it, and we want to repent and turn from that. The story might have gone a lot different had they done that. But they didn't do that. What'd they do? They ran and hid. They ran and hid in the bushes. Like, maybe God won't see us. Maybe it'll be like it just didn't happen. Friends, we do the same thing all the time. We do something that we know we shouldn't have done, but we hide behind that mask of, I'm good, everything's fine. I'm doing just fine, it's no big deal, it's all good. When we know it's not. Here's another thing we do. We rationalize. We rationalize. Now, you know how to remember what rationalizing is all about? When you rationalize, you tell yourself rational lies. That's what you're doing. Think about it. When you rationalize, you are trying to convince yourself that something you know is wrong is right or isn't wrong. And aren't we good at, we can come at it from every angle, and if that doesn't work, then we try another scenario, we try another angle, and we just keep trying to make it seem like it's okay, even though we know it's not. And man, all it does is make us miserable. So we deny, we rationalize. The third thing that we do is we blame other people, or blame life, or blame the government, or blame the world. We blame. Now here's another cool little memory device. You know what blame is? When you blame, you are being lame. I'm full of them today, okay? Think about it. Be lame. That's my 80s roots coming out, right? It's lame, dude. But here's the thing. You are. It's lame to blame because we've got to take ownership of our life or we never get better. Right? It's exactly what Adam and Eve did. God confronted them when they disobeyed Him after they ate that forbidden fruit. Did you eat the fruit that I told you not to eat, Adam? It's that woman. Right? It's that woman. And then he didn't stop there. He said, it's that woman who you gave me. I was good. I was minding my own business until that woman who you gave me came up to me and I ate the fruit. Like it's not my fault. Have we not been here? Eve, did you do it? It's that snake. Right? We passed the buck. Blame is this weird mentality where we kind of begin to think, well, if I point out other people's sins, well, I know I did this, but you did that. That if we point out other people's sins, somehow it minimizes ours. That doesn't work. That doesn't change our life at all, you see. Didn't work in the garden, and it doesn't work today. My point is, we're experts at finding all kinds of ways to avoid confession. And it's really the only way back to restoration is to just confess. But when we don't, it damages our soul